Make sure to turn my ring off on the phone. Okay.
Oops. That was a hint.
Yeah, that was it for me. Thank you. And I know, but I'm an audio student. I can do better than that.
Okay.
I'm on silent.
Awesome.
But I still can hear people's phone buzzing.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
It's like...
Hello. I'd like to welcome all of the Grown Folks Music Posse to our first Behind the Film podcast. And I am super excited because we have the Jerome Benton as our first inaugural guest. We are going to be talking about my personal favorite film of all time, Under the Cherry Moon. But with all things on these Prince and Prince-related podcasts on Grown Folks Music, everything always returns to Prince, and we talk about more than just Under the Cherry Moon. We wanted to start a new podcast series to distinguish between the Inside the Album podcasts that we've been doing and when we actually have guests from the Purple Kingdom. Hopefully, you will be getting more behind the film podcast as well as behind the album podcast with people who have worked directly with Prince. Be patient, as it takes a while to work out schedules and so forth. But I'm elated that Jerome Benton is our first behind the film guest for Under the Cherry Moon. I'll talk a little bit later at the end of the podcast why this is so special to me.
GrownFolksMusic.com.
I would like to welcome everyone, and I am super elated to have a person who needs no introduction, a person that we love dearly, a person who is just amazing and has brought so much joy to so many people, none other than the Jerome Benton.
Good morning, D'Angela.
Good morning, Jerome. You have no idea how much this means to me. This is really phenomenal.
Well, again, I'm gonna do the cliche. I'm happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Thank you so much. So last night, you celebrated your birthday in New York City. Thank you for coming all the way to New York City to celebrate it with us.
Yes, I have some people working with me, Tanya Giddens and Jill Monroe. They're helping me walk through this path of entertainment and do the social media thing and all that. And they decided to bring me out here to New York to celebrate my 25th birthday.
Now, my question for you, was yesterday your actual birthday?
I'll go with that.
Yes? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Age is unimportant at this point.
Yeah. But I'm
Yes.
talking in terms of the date.
Dates are unimportant.
Oh, okay. Dates are also important. You got that from Prince, I think, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was really big on
Privacy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No worries at all.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it last night, and what really was like the kicker for me is when I walked in and I saw Under the Cherry Moon playing on not one screen, but 3 screens.
Once upon a time in France, there lived a bad boy named Christopher Tracy.
And I actually watched all 3 screens.
Yes, I did too. It was such a treat to see that film playing, and when it ended, I was like, oh no. But then it started again. I was like, yes. So I was really excited to see that. Today, I want to talk to you predominantly about Under the Cherry Moon, but I want to start by saying that following in the footsteps of great comedic duos such as Laurel and Hardy, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, and Chris Tucker and Ice Cube, you have the distinction of being one half of 2 of the most amazing comedic dynamic duos. One with Morris Day in Purple Rain.
It's the password.
The password is it?
The password is what?
It! You just said so!
And the other being Prince in Under the Cherry Moon.
Christopher, can I tell you something? No, don't you? Don't You ruined it.
I mean, that is really extraordinary. My question to you is, I've always been dying to know who is funnier, Morris or Prince?
Pizza man.
Well, it's crazy, too, because they're both equally as funny. You know, we all come from that melting pot of our heritage of humor. We've experienced some of the same ups and downs, resolve, and those things. I can't put one in front of the other. Songwriting, Prince.
Right. I can't imagine like what the banter must have been between those two when they were in the same room.
It's like shots fired.
Yeah.
You got to duck. It's both of them are amazingly funny guys. Split second, they'll be talking about your mama, and then Prince's array of experiences.
You know, I wish there was some way we could bring her down to our world and she could experience the real fun.
From his travels comes through his songwriting, but he's also ghetto as well.
So I walked around to the bathroom window, pushed it up, climbed inside. Soon as I got inside, it hit me. I don't know what it was, but it hit me hard.
Yeah, and I think that was what was really amazing about Under the Cherry Moon. Mm-hmm. So when Under the Cherry Moon came out, I was only 15 years old. I kind of knew, I was like, wait a minute, this is the real Prince. In May, I spoke in Manchester, England at the first academic Prince conference, and my paper was actually Under the Cherry Moon, Prince as his most authentic self. And for me, Under the Cherry Moon is the most public document for those of us who didn't have the pleasure of knowing him as a man or as a person. I felt like this is about as close as I'm going to get to the real Prince. Do you feel that that's true in terms of Under the Cherry Moon? Do you think that is sort of the closest that someone who doesn't know Prince would, kind of get to know the man?
I think there were some elements of that character that came from who he was as a person. When we were putting together the journey of Under the Cherry Moon, it was basically us traveling. We're traveling around and experiencing things. And, the record store scene came from an experience that was happening in real life.
Record store, it's nothing.
It is something. Come on, read it again. This time, say it louder.
Record store.
Louder.
Record store! I give up. What is it?
He watched me in the clubs and take notes of that and go back to the drawing board, and you look up and it's on a script somewhere, or you're reenacting something that he observed. So yes, So to answer your question, you come real close to the Prince that you were allowed to see. I know another Prince as well. I know an emotional Prince. I know a caring Prince. And people don't talk about his caring side. Mm-hmm. So yes, that would be as close as you could get to knowing who he was.
That he wanted us to know. Yes. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. Now, last night you talked about Brazil. And this is the first time I've heard about Brazil before Nice. So could you break that down for our listeners?
Oh, we were just traveling. We were just having fun. Myself, Prince, bodyguard Gilbert Davidson, Wally Safford, my buddy Wally, my brother Wally, and Mr. Nelson, John Nelson. And we traveled over there, and there was a piano in the suite, and Prince and his father would just sit at the piano and play.
Wow.
And Mr. Nelson will sit and play some of the stuff that we've heard in Under the Cherry Moon.
Phenomenal.
And he would play, and you would just see my man just go into a space. And his dad was finishing, and with his accolades of, I'm the shh. And Prince would just be like, whoa, amazing man. Why wouldn't Prince have that talent? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. When you hear him play Venus de Milo or something like that, oh my goodness. Yeah. Touching.
Yeah. I was really, just devastated when Prince passed away, but I thought it was fitting that his last tour was a piano-only tour. Actually, 2016 was the 30th anniversary of Under the Cherry Moon, and I felt like Christopher Tracy was on tour. And I just think that Prince doesn't get enough respect for his piano playing, you know? And I thought now he's finally going to get the accolades for his piano playing, because you could tell that his father really influenced him.
D'Angela, Prince's career was full of disrespect to his music.
Yeah.
But he's the best.
Yes.
But he's the best. Even disrespectful now with, he pleaded with record companies to keep his stuff off the internet.
Yeah.
And now it's readily available for free.
Yes. I don't know who made that decision, but it was not a decision that Prince would have wanted. No.
It's not right, and they need to fix it.
Yeah. They do. I don't want to talk too much about that.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on that shouldn't be going on.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess, as they would say.
It's a hot mess.
Yes, it's a hot mess.
But we were privileged in our lifetime to be able to experience his palette of music that changed every time he did a record.
Oh, I know.
It changed every time he did a live concert. You never were let down. Can anybody ever tell me of a bad Prince concert?
I don't think so. No, that's not possible. But Jerome, we have to talk about you. You are extraordinary too. Like, again, going back to those dynamic duos of Morris Day and Jerome and Prince and Jerome, there's a common denominator there, and that common denominator is Jerome Benton.
Tell you what, give me a Dark Room and a Sam Cooke album. I show her the real fun.
Right, but observation, opportunity given by Prince.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Again, I grew up around all the guys. I was the younger guy and the quiet one. But all those years of observation, they took the muffle off me. So,
That's really wonderful. And so you were born and raised in Minneapolis?
I was born in Omaha, Nebraska.
I did not know that.
One of
Thank you
5
for that.
kids. Vernetta, my mom, she raised 5 kids by herself. So,
I love mamas, so we got to give one up for your mom. That's really extraordinary.
Mama.
Yes.
Hi, Mama.
And so everyone and their mama should know that Terry Lewis is your brother.
Terry is my blood brother.
Yes.
None of that half step. That's my brother.
That's your brother.
I have an older brother named Daryl Lewis. He's an NFL referee,
Oh, my God.
law professor, and retired from university system in Nebraska, a big school, Summa Cum Laude school. I have 2 sisters, Brenda and Benita.
Awesome. So do you still live in Minneapolis?
No, I live in Los Angeles.
I was going to ask you because I know Flight Time made the switch from Minneapolis and moved their studios to LA, and so Jesse's out there as well.
Yeah, myself, Terry, Jimmy Jam, and Jesse Johnson live in Los Angeles.
But LA is such a large, sprawling town.
Huge.
Yeah. Do you guys see each other a lot?
Yeah, if I feel like driving 40 miles. Or 4 hours in traffic. But yes, I see my brother frequently.
Okay.
Again, he's still a major part of my life and part of my career as well. He helps me score my stage writings and things and film stuff. And people come to me because they can't get to him. So I do the genuine introductions so they can do some business.
I think that I can speak for a lot of fans. Like, one of the highlights of this year was seeing the original 7.
That was fun.
That was something to see. I wish it could have been in the audience, but I have never felt so good in a very long time. It was just really great seeing you all together.
That was fun. I don't tour that much anymore unless it's the original band. Mm-hmm. I'm not on the road right now. And Terry called me and said, the Grammys want us to do a show. Bruno Mars wants us to perform as well. How do you feel? I said, what day? And they called me back, said, it's on, let's do it. So we went in and did our rehearsal, 2 days of rehearsal.
You guys were extraordinary for 2 days of rehearsal.
2 days and maybe an hour and a half each day. Everybody's really busy.
Yeah.
But that group of guys, just when it's time to go, they're ready to roll.
Yeah, because we've heard of the legendary rehearsals, hours and hours and hours and hours on end that you guys did way back when. I would assume you guys would just have muscle memory.
And that's what makes it easy for us to do it now, So in due time, we'll be back in there rehearsing hours and hours again to try to put another show together and do something spectacular again.
That'd be awesome.
We got to carry this legacy on.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast. I don't do all of the Inside the Album podcast. I only do the Prince and Prince-related Inside the Album podcast because in my own little way, as long as I'm alive, I want to keep Prince's name out there as well as all the people who have worked with him because I can't tell you, you guys have brought me so much joy in my lifetime. I had a very rough childhood, and Prince and all the related projects like The Family, all of that really got me through a really tough time. So I really kind of owe my life to you guys. So it's a pleasure.
It's your loyalty that keeps me doing these kind of things and popping up when I want to.
Yes.
Feel good when I show up and the homage that's been given by you last night, the hugs, the handshakes, the winks, the butt pats, people squeezing me in my behind. That's all right.
Yeah.
It didn't feel good, but it happened. But no offense. So I just love the support of the fans. And last night, it was a work day. People showed up, and we had a really, really, really cool time.
I really felt for you. There were so many people there, and you spoke to each and every one of them.
He's already checked out every woman here twice.
I tried to. I think I missed 2.
But you were working it. I was like, he knows how to work a room.
Oh, shoot.
In a good way.
Okay.
In a good way. In terms of being welcoming, like fellowshipping and, you know.
It's about fellowship.
Yeah, about fellowship.
Everybody deserves recognition in a space.
Yes.
So.
That's true. So most people should know this, but we have like 2 sets of listeners. We have like the hardcore, diehard Prince fans that already know everything. And then we have the newbies because after Prince's passing, I've had several either students or even seniors that now they want to listen to Prince now that he's gone. And so we have sort of 2 audiences, one audience that knows everything and then one audience that actually knows nothing. What's really great about you, Jerome, and I think that out of all the people Prince worked with, I feel like you are the best in that you had your hand in so many amazing projects with Prince. You obviously started out in the Time.
What time is it?
Everyone should know the story about the mirror.
Right.
So I'm not going to make you repeat it. And if you haven't heard the story about the mirror, you should go and figure it out. But from touring with the Time and being on stage with the Time, then you went on stage with Family, which is one of my beloved projects. One of the reasons why it's one of my beloved projects is for 2 reasons. One, Eric Leeds. I'm a huge Eric Leeds fan.
Amazing sax player.
Amazing sax player. And then Claire Fisher. This was like the first
composer.
Claire Fisher Prince collaboration, the Family record was. From the Family, then you started touring with Prince.
With Wally and Brooks, we were referred as the buffoons, the clowns on stage.
Actually, I have a question. I mean, you don't have to answer this if it's too personal. So how were you guys received by the Revolution?
That was my statement that was there. At that point, I thought they were cool. 35 years later, in publications, I see there was a dismay of our presence. But again, the boss brought us in. It was the boss's ideal. It was the boss's journey. And how could the boss be wrong when the fans love it? And 30 years later, you're still going to ride on those elements of being what I think is jealous of a presence. I was there to help have fun, and I did my job. And I loved doing my job.
I could tell.
It didn't matter what anybody else thought. I was working with my friend, or let's say my boss, my mentor, my friend. We achieved a lot of stuff at that time. So,
well, my personal favorite Prince band is, quote unquote, the band with no name, which is the Sign of the Times Love Sexy Band. That was my band.
They were funky.
I love that band. Obviously Sheila E. on drums.
On the drums, Sheila E. Not bad for a girl.
Bonnie Boyer, may she rest in peace.
Yes.
Her voice was just extraordinary.
Bonnie
It's your house.
And Kat obviously had mad energy.
Cat, we need you to rap.
And after Under the Cherry Moon, my favorite film is Prince's Sign of the Times. Prince directed both Under the Cherry Moon as well as Sign of the Times Live. Sign of the Times Live was really important for me because you guys didn't tour in the States for Sign of the Times. So Sign of the Times, the film, was the only live thing that we had. This past summer at NYU, we had a panel called Peach and Black, and we actually screened Sign of the Times Live. And we had Anil Dash and Miles Marshall Lewis, who interviewed you last night. He was on the panel, as well as Zaire Ali, who's an oral historian for the Brooklyn Historical Society, as well as Elliot Powell from the University of Minnesota. I got him come down, and I moderated the panel because, this year is the 30th anniversary of Sign of the Times, as well as Sign of the Times Live.
Right.
So I really wanted to, again, no one talks about Sign of the Times Live, so I wanted to do an event around that. A lot of people hadn't seen it on a large screen. It's just been announced that Showtime has acquired the rights, and they're going to be showing sometimes. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, well.
Because no one knows what's going on with the rights with sometimes because it was never Warner Brothers. So that's a whole nother story.
We get caught up in that minutia, and Prince was very direct at what he wanted with his cachet of art. And shame.
Yes.
And Sign of the Times, that's when Wally and Brooks were on stage.
Yes.
And Wally would be a good person to interview for that because he was there. Again, Wally was a personal assistant with Prince for many, many years alone. So he's a good person for you to get here and dig into his brain.
Oh, that would be phenomenal because I got the opportunity to see the very, very short film, The Hard Life. Yes. It is so funny.
Right.
Like Wally and Greg, I just died laughing.
I hate having debt. Oh, everybody in Detroit. I owe 3 different women child support. You owe me $35. I owe the IRS. I even owe the Girl Scouts. Damn, cookies are good. You stole cookies from the Girl Scouts?
The only thing that I wish was in the film, you could see Mr. Nelson playing pool, but he didn't have a speaking role. And I was like, Prince, why didn't you give your father a speaking role? Because I've never, really...
Because presence is always as much as any words can be derived by a writer.
Yes.
His presence made enough
an impact,
noise. At that time, I had departed from Prince. At that time, I was working with Janet and Herb Alpert, and, doing things for A&M Records and Flight Time as well. I had kind of departed the Paisley Park thing, and Wally was living with me at my home, so he was going to work from the house and living with me. So again, I was still close to what was going on, but I was doing my own thing.
I understand. Again, my favorite film of all time, Under the Cherry Moon. I see it as you and Prince, it's Prince and Jerome's film, in my opinion.
It was fun.
It looked like you guys had a blast.
We had fun.
Yeah. Obviously, everyone always cites the Wreck-A Stove scene. That's sort of the scene.
Wait. If you wanted to buy a Sam Cooke Abbey, where would you go?
The Wreck-A Stove.
But I want to tell you my 3 favorite Prince scenes and my 3 favorite Jerome scenes. So my favorite Prince scene of all time is when you guys are in the bedroom and Mary Sharon calls.
I was just wondering what you were doing.
You're behind Prince.
Thinking.
And Prince is telling you to be quiet, with his hands, with a gesture.
Oh, that's when I was laying across the bed flexing my muscles.
Yeah.
I was being buff.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were. But then he takes this big bite out of the baguette. I just crack up laughing every single time. And then the editor of the film, they do this hard edit where he's putting the ladder up to what he thinks is Mary Sharon's.
If anybody comes, you whistle 4 times.
And then, it just, that whole,
Dumbass, you don't even know if this is right window.
It just gets me every time. It never gets old. I just crack up every single time that I see those.
You just took me back. You just took me back to those days of filming. That's crazy. That was how we were. We were running around the south of France on the days off doing that kind of stuff. We were experiencing all that in Monaco and Monte Carlo, hanging out with people of the world.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And were they kind? Like, were they receptive?
Absolutely. That was a very friendly and kind, warming place there. We're riding around on scooters.
Oh.
Prince riding around on a scooter, Wally, and Gilbert, and we're all going down these little cobblestone roads. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a journey that is unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I think, though, that you have the best lines in the film. I forgot to tell you, I was 15 when the film came out. I'm assuming that the VHS came out the following year. I recorded it on audio cassette so I could listen to it every single day.
Oh, wow.
And my sister, who's 10 years younger than me, she was only 6 years old. She knew the entire dialogue on the Cherry Moon because I played it every day.
You tortured her like that?
No, she had a lot of fun. So I love that film to death. And my favorite scene when I was young was when you're dancing with Mary Sharon and you go, follow stupid girl home.
Follow stupid girl home, see who answered the door.
Yes, yes. I love, that's one of my favorite ones.
Man, I hate stupid girls. Marry a stupid girl, you have stupid kids. You don't believe me? Follow stupid kid home, see if someone stupid don't answer the door.
Also, another one of my favorite lines of yours is, Only
confused men wear loafers. You aren't confused, are you?
Those were Prince-written lines.
Were they really?
Yes, that was not from a writer. That was Prince-written lines.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Yes.
So did you guys do like a lot of improvisation or?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did a lot of improv, but we stayed close to the script.
Okay.
A lot of it was on script, and last minute they go print it out and bring it to us. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, because another one of my favorite lines is when you're mad at Prince towards the end, you go like,
just like Liberace.
I just really love, and also the music, in addition to that line, it's just like this brilliant combination. I could go on and on about the whole film is my favorite scene, like, are you afraid of bats?
Yeah. That was actually a real scenario at original time band rehearsal.
Really?
Mm-hmm, when we were first starting out.
Huh.
We were in a dungeon in southeast Minneapolis over by the University of Minnesota. And I wasn't in the band at the time. I was a roadie. And the band was rehearsing in this basement in the bottom of this warehouse. And we were rehearsing and going through a song, and something started flickering around the room. And Prince was sitting in the corner, and I said, "It's a bat!" And everybody said, "Ah! And they dipped down to about knee height and ran out the room, up the stairs, and out the building.
Oh, my God.
And that's kind of what you've seen in the scene.
Yeah.
So I went back in, brave macho man me, wrote an extract, and I went in and caught the bat and brought it out.
Whoa.
And showed it to everybody and let it go.
That's crazy.
Peter can't do anything to me because I was kind to that bat.
Oh, what I find funny about that scene in the film is that you guys are deep in the restaurant, but when people start running, you guys are the first out of the restaurant. I always think that is so awesome.
We were the only black folks in there. You think we're going to let the white folks beat us out the restaurant? Shoot. They start stepping on each other.
What's the matter, afraid to die?
Yes.
Well, I ain't afraid of shit.
Are you afraid of bats?
I love that scene. I love it very much.
Yeah, that was a real scene. I mean, I'm telling you.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
That was a real scenario.
That in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm. And so from me telling you that, how close can you be to Prince by watching his films? Mm-hmm. That's as close as you can get. That's life.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are things that we experienced.
Yeah, that's so cool. And then another one of my favorite scenes is the whole butterscotch chocolate.
Oh,
no
butterscotch
way.
chocolate, yeah. I used to always call him Yellow when he used to I said, your mama. He said, your mama. So he said, well, at least I got one. I said, your mama's my mama. He said, no, butterscotch chocolate. It doesn't work.
Check it out. Butterscotch? Chocolate? No way.
Honey, don't you know I slap the ways out your head?
We bantered like friends. Yeah.
I knew that you guys were friends. There's an outtake from the Mountains video. And at the very, very end, Prince turns to you and gives you the most authentic hug I've ever seen anyone give. He was just like so filled with joy. And I knew in that moment, I was like, yeah, Jerome's the real deal. Like he's
And
really
he didn't like
Prince's
the hug.
friend. I know that. I didn't even know that, but I knew that.
That might have been one of the only sincere hugs. No.
Yeah.
No, he didn't like being all up in people's space.
Yeah.
But I understood that, but I still hugged him. I hugged everybody.
But he hugged you. But
Yes,
he hugged
did.
you. And I knew, I was like, okay, Jerome, he's the one. Like,
That's my guy.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
That's my guy.
Yeah. So I could tell that you guys were extremely close. I know that must be really hard. I know last night you said that you miss him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we all miss him. It's been a real blow, but we have to continue his legacy.
There's certain songs that out of his catalog that when I hear them just pushes life into pause for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good feeling, though. It's not a bad feeling.
That's great. I want to know, where did the name Tricky come from?
By the way, my name is Tricky.
Tricky, put the phone down.
I love that name, by the way.
He just started calling me Tricky long before the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Long before the movie.
I didn't know that.
Long
I thought it
before
was
the
just
movie.
for the film.
Yeah. Every now and then I would hear Tricky. It ended up in the script. And
Do you know why he chose to name himself Christopher Tracy? Do you have any insight into that?
I didn't go that far into it. Back then, I wasn't that inquisitive of what he wanted to do. He made great decisions. Made some crazy ones, too. But, most of them, I was there as a soldier. I wanted him to achieve what he was trying to achieve.
When I think of Prince, I think Prince is fearless. And
Fearless, he was.
A lot of people play it safe. One of the reasons why I've always looked up to Prince is he created his own world. I mean, he created his own kingdom, and not many people can do that.
And that's what Paisley Park was about.
Yes.
And now Paisley Park is being raped.
Yeah. The one thing, though, is I do think it's important that Paisley Park remains just as a symbol, particularly in Minneapolis and for the world.
Yep. Have you been up to the museum?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I actually went the opening weekend because I was afraid something was going to happen, and I thought they were going to shut it down. Something did happen because they didn't get the permits, and I was lucky that the date I had chosen was one of the dates that got to go, because I was like, maybe this is not going to happen after all.
Wow.
So I really wanted to go as soon as the doors opened. I was actually there that June, and I didn't go to Paisley Park because that's when they had all the stuff on the fence from the fans. I didn't want to see it that way, and plus it was just too soon for me.
I haven't been there, and I don't care to go under restraints.
Yeah.
That has always been an open house to me.
Right.
I don't want somebody that didn't build one wall around there to tell me, you got to stand over here.
Right. No.
You got to stand over there. I walk in after 2-3 years of not seeing Prince and just walk around. And nobody ever kicked me out.
Right.
I heard there's elements of banning people from it and all that stuff. I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
So when they fix that and they can promise me that it's going to be a place that us, and meaning Bobby Z and everybody, and Wendy and Lisa, Apollonia, Mark Brown can walk up in there without being regulated.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
Then I'll be okay. You can send me my invite.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'd like to go in there with a bunch of people and tour it. Roll with Rome.
Count me in. I would love to do it with you. I really would. So I want to know, what was your favorite song? It could be The Time, The Family, or Prince that you love performing on stage, that you liked being there when it was being performed.
With Prince?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Prince played nonstop, so it was one big song. There's no particular song that's my favorite. Mm-hmm. You know, when I'm involved in it, it's go. Mm. And I'm outside my body. Mm. I'm a fan watching myself. I got the best seat in the house.
Mm. Yeah, you're probably in there's this term called the flow state, when like time just goes by and you're not even aware that it's going by and you're just really present. That's
what performance is for me. You know, like I said, performing with Prince and the band, The Time, I'm a fan. I'm a fan on stage. I have the best seat. Mm-hmm. You know, everything that we've done musically is my favorite. You know, so
I said this before, but Prince is sort of notorious for endless rehearsals that go on for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Do you have a favorite memory from one of them? Like something that's super funny, or you think of it and it just cracks you up?
All of them. Something crazy happened in the very beginning. Everybody was happy to be there. Mm. We were willing to stay in rehearsal 12, 15 hours and playing one song and getting it down. And then going on the road and riding a tour bus 12 hours to go into rehearsal in Jacksonville, Florida, and watching Vanity 6 go through their earnings. Because, you know, the band played behind Vanity 6 in the very beginning, and so those were rehearsals as well. So some of that stuff was very unique, a unique time. Because we were learning, but we were diligent and dedicated to what we were doing. We wanted to be good, and we were going to be good.
Yeah, yeah.
So Prince had an eye for what he's seen. He couldn't repeat it again. That group of guys, hands down.
Yeah. You just reminded me, so my very first Prince concert was for 1999, and I was 12 years old, and I got to see Vanity 6, The Time, and Prince in Birmingham, Alabama.
That was one of our first shows.
Was it really? Yeah, so it was...
on the big tour.
Yeah. So that was an amazing tour, just seeing the three of you guys. You can't beat that lineup.
No.
Yep.
We had amazing tour there. The lights, Roy Bennett, and the sounds, Cubby, Susan and Brenda, Vanity, bless her soul.
Wanna play with you.
Billy Sparks out there running us around. You know, Billy was a character.
What the fuck wrong with you, kid?
I don't have time for your bullshit, Billy. What do you want?
I told you before, the stage is no place for your personal shit, man.
That's life, man.
Life my ass, motherfucker. This is a business.
He kept everything lively, you know. When we got to the venue, it was on. It was amazing. And then the performance side of it, fans just waiting for us. And we would light it up. We did it in regards of what Prince wanted us to do.
So how was the change going from 1999 tour to sort of the whole Purple Rain phenomenal and the reception of the Purple Rain film? Did it change, I don't want to say change your life, but like when you were out in public, did you have to have bodyguards or stuff? Or was it just business as usual and everyone is like freaking out and you're the same? Or how was that dynamic?
The fame didn't change us in Minneapolis, you know. Again, we were knuckleheads. Most of us were athletes from North Minneapolis, being athletes. You carry a certain presence. Terry and Jimmy, those guys were popular around town already. I think some of the stuff got enhanced and brought it to another level of acceptance, but it didn't go to our heads. Now, when we left town, but, you know, home always kept you
grounded,
yes. But you go somewhere else, oh, wow. Hey, y'all, let's go to the mall. What's at the mall? The girls. We ain't got no money, but we still gonna go to the mall. So,
Can you talk a little bit about the Detroit love? So, like, Detroit was one of the cities that really gave Prince. Prince was a star in Detroit way before he was the star everywhere else. What was it about Detroit and Prince?
Prince had a relationship with Detroit, and he shared it with us. Billy Sparks, being from Detroit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Quentin Perry. Something about Detroit, they had this component called Mojo Radio.
Hello, Prince.
Hello, Detroit.
And he played our stuff, and he accepted us, and he embraced us. It was like, wow, he really likes us. So it was our duty to come and do what we do. We rehearsed for it, so we came to tear it up every single time. And we made ourselves approachable. We went out to the malls. You know, there were places that people was like, don't go there. Don't go there. That's not the club you need to go to. Guess where we were at? We were sitting up in those clubs with people from the community that was like us.
Right.
So we became approachable and became friends and relationships and all those things. And they kept on growing. And people see us out eating at restaurants, eating at local people's restaurants. And then we would come back again and we play at another spot. And we still go out and hang out with the fans. And at the end of the shows, we stood around and we talked. And every time they seen us, we were dressed cool and ready to go. We even had our clothes cleaned in the community. So in the morning, I'd get up and take everybody's clothes to the cleaners before they got up, get them cleaned, and come back, and they put them on, and everybody's heading out to the mall again. You know, after a while, we had local people who would come pick us up at the hotel to take us to their house for dinner.
Wow.
All those things. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I have one final question about Under the Cherry Moon. In the beginning of filming Under the Cherry Moon, Mary Lambert was the director, and then Prince took over as director. What was the difference in styles of directing of Mary versus Prince? Because I haven't heard much about Prince as a director, film director. Right. You know, obviously musical director, but not film director. So what was the differences between those two approaches to Under the Cherry Moon?
Well, the difference I see is that Mary had to learn us. She couldn't learn what Prince knew about us just in a couple of weeks or even a month or even in a shoot. You know, she's an amazing director. She didn't hit the notes that Prince needed her to hit. And what happens when things happen with Prince's band? When you can't solo,
out.
You out.
Yeah, yeah.
So when he gets in there, no, he didn't come with the credentials of knowing which camera lens to use, but he knew our comedy. So there were some flaws in some of his directing, but he was brave enough to take hold of it and get it done. And nobody would be able to direct me better than him.
Yeah, that's very true. And I don't want to finish this podcast without giving reverence to Michael Bauhaus.
Michael Bauhaus, amazing man.
Yes.
You know, Godfather, all that stuff.
Yes.
You know, all the old De Niro movies. I toured the Versailles with, I think it was Scorsese.
Oh, wow.
Right before we did Under the Cherry Moon.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I think there was probably something going on for cinematography at that point as well, or directing. He and his wife had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, the cinematography in Under the Cherry Moon is just really stunning, and no one talks about the cinematography. Michael Bauhaus is an A-list cinematographer. He worked with Scorsese. Yes.
AAA,
yes. Exactly.
And his sons are also doing film as well.
I didn't know that.
Sebastian and I can't remember the other one, Sebastian Bauhaus, but they got stuff out there as well. And they were on the set working hard too. And real cool young men. They took me around Germany on the days off. So I jump in, plane and go to East Berlin and hang out with those guys.
Were you involved in the editing process, or did you see like dailies?
I got to see dailies, but being involved in it,
no. So someone has told me that what I'm about to ask you, I need to just stop asking because it doesn't exist. Is there a color version of Under the Cherry Moon?
Well, honestly, the movie was shot in color. and transposed to black and white.
Yeah.
So I have to say there is one somewhere.
But you haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
I've seen it in color.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah.
I've
Oh,
seen
my
it in color.
God. See, someone has told me, like, no, it's not in color. No, it's not in color. I was like,
Who's these people that keep telling you? Is it one of those people that know everything?
Obviously not. Obviously not.
Is it the old schoolers that know everything?
Yeah,
or
obviously not.
is the newcomers? I'm just messing with
I mean,
you.
I really wish I could see the film in color. I love it in black and white, but there have been some photographic stills. And
I would love to get a copy and host a presentation of Under the Cherry Moon in color.
Yeah, I would love that. I would be right there.
So.
No matter where it is, I would just be right there. So I want to thank you so much for coming here. And I also have to give a huge thank you to Jill Monroe. She is amazing, and it wouldn't have happened without her assistance. And she's been so kind to me, so I got to give a huge, massive shout-out to Jill Monroe.
Jill is a very sweet young lady, and she's handling a lot of things for me. Her and Tanya Giddens, they're the contact for me. So I appreciate you guys having me here in NYU.
You're welcome.
And you're amazing.
Thank you.
One of the best interviewers I've been around.
Oh, thank you very much.
Cool questions. You didn't ask any invasive questions. You didn't give me no enema.
I try not to.
I was sitting real tight. I was sitting real tight on this chair so you couldn't get to it.
So are there any upcoming projects, or is there anything that you want our audience to know about what's going on with Jerome? Or
just go to my IamJeromeBenton.com, and updates are going to be put there. I got things going on. That's where the information will be at.
Awesome.
IamJeromeBenton.com.
All right. Well, if you're not subscribed and following Jerome, you got to. Just do it. You're on Facebook as well as Twitter, right?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Okay, all of them. Instagram?
No, all of them.
All of them.
All of them. All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining Grown Folks Music Behind the Film podcast with none other than the amazing Jerome Benton. I'm DJ Polished Solid, and it's my pleasure to bring the podcast to you through the phenomenal Grown Folks Music Network. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook as Polished Solid, and it is Polish ED, so polish like you polish your nails. Past tense, so add that ED, Solid, on Twitter as well as Facebook. I'd be happy to talk to you about anything Prince related, and my favorite Prince topic of all time is none other than Under the Cherry Moon. So what's really special about this podcast is my very first Grown Folks Music podcast was for Parade/Under the Cherry Moon in March of 2016. Please note that date, March of 2016. Little did I know that in approximately a month, my world would change. A lot of folks' worlds would change. And so it's fitting that Jerome is the first guest. So thank you so much, Jerome, for joining us. And thank you, Jill Monroe, for helping me connect with Jerome. And thank you, Jill and Tanya Giddens, for the fantastic birthday party you threw for Jerome Benton. We really do appreciate it. And I just want to let everybody know that I'm super excited for our next podcast, which will be Purple Rain Deluxe Inside the Album podcast. And yes, I know it's been out, but we have a very special guest, Dwayne Tudall, who is the author of the upcoming amazing book. There are a lot of books coming out about Prince right now. Obviously, the photography books are really fantastic, particularly Steve Parks' Picturing Prince. But in terms of the books where you have to read, the book that I have been waiting for is Prince in the Purple Rain Era Studio Sessions, 1983 and 1984 by Dwayne Tudall. I had the opportunity to read it, and it's amazing. So I'm super excited about that podcast. It will be our next podcast, so be on the lookout for that. We talked for so long about Purple Rain, as well as the book, that we talked for about 6 hours. So I'm going to have to do a lot of editing, and we're going to bring that to you in 2 parts. So be on the lookout for that. And if you're behind, we just released Taja Seville's Inside the Album podcast for its 30th anniversary. And our guest was Rhonda Nicole. And then prior to that, we had a Wendy and Lisa Inside the Album podcast for the 30th anniversary of that. And Chris Aguilar Garcia joined us on that one. And then the podcast that has gotten the most feedback from the year has been the Prince Flood podcast with Zaire Ali and Harold Pride, where we talk about the output of Prince and Prince-related artists in 1987. And we've had a gazillion other podcasts this year, and we have a lot more for you coming up. So I hope you really enjoyed this really rare opportunity to talk to Jerome Benton, because he doesn't talk to just anyone. I hope you guys notice that there are a lot of people doing podcasts right now from the Purple Kingdom, but you don't hear from Jerome often. So I was just extremely honored and thrilled that Jerome trusted me enough to want to talk to me. And that means the world to me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for your continued listening. Tell a friend about the Prince and Prince-related podcasts on Grown Folks Music and everything else we do at Grown Folks Music. But obviously, I have a special place for the Prince and Prince-related podcasts. So that's what I'm involved with. And if you've listened to any of these podcasts, you know that my small contribution to the world, because nothing could compare to Prince's contribution, is keeping his name out in the world. And in my day job, I'm a professor at NYU. I asked a class of 22 students if they've seen Purple Rain, and the answer was 0. Not one single student had ever seen Purple Rain. That's the world we live in. So you think everybody knows about Prince, but no, it is not true. So we got to keep Prince on the lips of the children. Have a great day.
GrownFolksMusic.com